Welcome to another Birdies conversation where we are talking about how to lead with purpose. Angel City has partnered with Birdies on this talk series to discuss important topics to help women and really all people rise up both personally and professionally. I'm Catherine Dávila. I'm the head of community for Angel City. But what's really important is to introduce you to an amazing person who is the embodiment of our topic today. And that is the incomparable Dani Weatherholt, starting midfielder for Angel City FC, co-captain of the team. And if you didn't know already, truly a beautiful and remarkable human being. Dani, hello, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Let's start before we really dive in. Just given where we are, the end of our inaugural season, when you look back as the part of the first team that ever played for Angel City FC, what will you remember most?
Yeah, I had my end of the year meeting yesterday with Freya, and although we're disappointed that we didn't make the playoffs, we both were just sitting there with just so much gratitude, and we were both so proud. I think representing a club that represents the city as a whole, like you have done an exceptional job in the community, Catherine. I think you introduced me in such high regard, but I think everyone needs to know what an incredible job you've done, and how close to the community we feel because of you guys. So truly, I feel proud to be a part of this organization and proud of the group. We faced every obstacle quite possible. That's the beauty and the hiccups that come with an expansion team. So I'm just so proud of the group and how we rode out adversity. And I think all of us leaving the season like so excited for next year is the most telling sign. So so I'm proud.
That's really wonderful to hear,
Yeah.
both as a fan and as somebody who works for Angel City. And for what it's worth, it's been tremendous in working with the community to see how much they feel connected to you and to the team. So thank you for that. That means the world. I think that all of this and that pride and that kind of community connection leads us straight into this question of how we lead and what role purpose plays in that. And so let's start super high level. Dani, what does it mean to you to be a purpose-driven leader?
Yeah, I think for me, being a purpose-driven leader, it's like leading in a holistic way. So with a greater perspective that it's more than just the goal at hand of making playoffs or being a successful team. And it's not willing to sacrifice people's well-being or values in order to succeed. So in my opinion, it's putting every individual and organization first. And making sure that I'm empowering people and loving people and enabling them to grow, because that is how I play at my best. That is how I lead at my best. And I think when you empower people to feel seen and valued and heard, you're going to get the best product no matter what. And it doesn't matter whether it's sport or business or any field. If people feel valued and seen, then you're going to get the best out of them. So to me, I think a purpose-driven leader drives that type of culture. I'm excited to meet your dog one day. She's trying to get in there. Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, and I think part of it too is like leading from like what ignites your soul, like what makes you passionate and excited every day. Because if I wasn't very passionate about soccer and empowering people, it'd be really hard every day to, I was going to say fake it. So I think it's really important to lead from like authenticity. And yeah, that's my answer for that.
Yeah, and I mean, what you're talking about is really, I think it's definitely the way that I think about and that we at Angel City in general think about what it means to have purpose as a part of like the core of our business, right? Which is there are genuine advantages, there are business advantages to doing what is right and to having kind of that North Star. And there are also personal ones, individual ones that you've just mentioned.
Yeah.
I wonder, honestly, do you think that you have to make sacrifices in order to lead with purpose, in order to pursue something that really ignites you?
No, honestly, it feels more fulfilling to lead with something that ignites you.
Mhm.
I think early in my career, I was very fortunate that I was put in organizations that really valued community and really valued the impact that soccer had. So very quickly, my purpose in playing, like although I had personal goals, it was to use soccer as a vehicle for positive change in any capacity, whether that be as a teammate and a friend, whether that be as just interacting with a fan or inspiring people that they can chase their dreams, or even just giving people opportunity. I think having that early on allowed me to be in the game for as long as I have and to still have that excitement and passion.
It's so important, and it is, I mean, in some ways it is a privilege to be able to do the things that we love,
Yes.
and to feel so connected to the work and to the communities. I wonder, do you feel like, there's you're a leader, you're a co-captain on the team, and even if you weren't, I think it's very clear that you assume that role of
Mm-hmm.
leadership. And when you're in that position, there can be outside scrutiny. How much do you think about the actions that you take, the decisions you make,
Mm-hmm.
off the field or on the field, and how they're being scrutinized?
I used to personally try to be so perfect, but I realized that I became a more effective leader the more I was human and myself and made mistakes and had failures and asked people for help. Like, I think so many times we try to come across as like we have it all together. And, you know, I think it makes us at times unrelatable. So I personally, I don't try to pay attention to like looking a certain way or acting a certain way. I think part of being an effective leader is being your authentic self. And in order to do so, you have to grapple and dig and get to the root of maybe insecurities. And I think that's when you've done that work, you don't worry so much about the scrutiny, because you know who you are and you're leading from a place that's you've been to those crevices. Like no one's gonna find something about you that you haven't already found. So um, yeah, I would say leading from an authentic place, having done the work of digging.
I love that, this notion of like an ability to be vulnerable, an ability to
Yeah.
to grow, right? Um, so massive. And as we're talking about, having a purpose, I think sometimes we think of that as being this fixed purpose, right? We talk about a North Star or a touchstone, this fixed thing that's guiding us. But one of the things that you're saying, it sounds like, is grappling and evolving, is also an important piece of this. So how do you as a leader interact with, take in, other viewpoints and
Hmm.
sort of sift through to see what is worth taking on board and adjusting course, and what is, maybe still antithetical to your purpose?
Yeah, and I think that was such a huge topic this year, being an expansion team. I came from the Rain, who have been a team for 10 years. They have the same three leaders that they've had for all 10 years. So that culture was ingrained, and anytime they went through adversity, they're like, "We know who we are." So coming in as an expansion team, that's really tough. You have so many different people that have come from different teams, different levels, different leagues, um, and trying to come together and bring the same values it's difficult. That's why I feel like so grateful that there were so many awesome leaders on this team. I really leaned on Allie Riley a lot. We had so many player-led meetings where we're like, let's talk about our culture. Like, let's not let the year go before we don't talk about like what we want to be or who we want to be. Um, and I think it's in those meetings that you empower and allow for people to have a voice and to share, maybe some things that work for them. Because if you came in with like, this is how our culture is going to be, but the people didn't fit that, then it's going to be clashing the whole season. So we got to talk as a group of like what was important to us, what we valued, the culture and standards we wanted to drive. And then from there, it was shaped based off of the personnel.
That makes so
Yeah.
much sense. You can't force something onto a group.
Yeah.
And it takes real leadership and listening to be able to, pull from the people. Are you comfortable sharing maybe some of those values and some of those, where you settled or what you came to as a group?
Yeah, I think a big one for us was like on the field mentality was, a relentless work rate. We wanted to, no matter what, give 110%. And I'm so proud of that because I strongly believe that our group did that day in and day out. Um, we wanted to have respect for one another. We all come from different backgrounds and, as I said, levels and teams. So having the underlying respect of, I respect you as a person. And even if you're not showing up on the day, I know that you have my back and I trust you. And that was a huge one for us, that there's going to be, not getting too high, not getting too low. When we were doing well, it was all great. And then when we had some consecutive losses, it was like, hey, you got to remember, like, these are our values. Um, and then progress was another one. As a team and as a club, really valuing where the women's game has been and where we want to take it, and our role in that as players and people. So those were three of the biggest ones that we settled in on.
I just got to say, it shows all of that was so visible on the field, and to see it genuinely, I could, and I think fans and supporters could see the
Mm-hmm.
evolution and sort of coming together of that over the course of the season, which speaks volumes to your leadership of Allie and your whole group. So that's huge, and congratulations and thank you for that. You mentioned adversity, right? There are times,
Yeah.
and if we're talking specifically about on the field, when things aren't going the way that you want them to, in those moments, how do you, as a leader, keep people kind of committed and keep yourself committed to the values, the purpose, if it seems like you're not getting the result you want?
Yeah, that's the hardest part, especially in like the heat of the moment of a game as well. Um, I think back to Louisville. We had two games. We just need to secure these wins, and we go to playoffs, and everything that could have gone wrong was going wrong. An
Mm-hmm.
early goal, a PK. Um, but I think in those moments is like keeping the group positive, like not allowing us to panic, not allowing us to start turning on one another. So I think even though we ultimately didn't win the game, I am proud that, we looked around at each other at the end of that game in the huddle and we're like, it's not over.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can end some of those games and look around and be like, do we want to keep doing this? Like, that was horrible. But we looked around like, no, we got this. We're fine. Let's control what we can control. Ultimately, that wasn't our best performance, but we still believed in each other. And I think being able to come out of adversity and hard times still believing in what we're fighting for, I think that is the hardest thing to do as a leader and as a team. And I was by no means a perfect leader. There were so many times I needed to look to my left and right and have teammates pick me up, and hopefully was able to do the same for them. So yeah, it was completely a group effort, and not even just our leadership group. I just think that part of being a purposeful leader is empowering leaders when it's their strength. It's recognizing that I'm not going to be the best leader in all areas. Like that halftime speech, I'm like, Sav, I need you. And she's going to deliver the most impactful pump up, we've got this passion. And I just think it's leaning on the people, on the whole team, and empowering them in moments to rise, and giving them that opportunity to do so, and not expecting yourself to be the leader that's going to lead in every single moment.
That is so beautiful and resonates, I think, really, really deeply. I think I don't know if it's cultural in our country or what, but I think there is sort of this perception that a leader is this untouchable or needs to be untouchable, infallible,
Yeah.
in every situation. And I love what you're saying about having the grace and the awareness to say, this is not the moment for me. I need support, and also just
Yeah.
recognizing, the power and ability of the people around you, and that everybody maybe has a different way that they lead, but there's a moment for it.
Absolutely. And like leading from what's authentic for you. Because there's times
Yes.
where you feel like, okay, I'm the leader on the team. Should I be doing this at this moment? Even though it doesn't feel right. And it's like, that's the time to allow someone else to step in and step up and give them that opportunity.
Can we take it just a step back, because all
Yeah.
of this, it just feels like it's so fully formed in your
Mm-hmm.
brain. Can you talk about how you developed this perspective and these skills? Because it doesn't just happen. And what I guess sort of inspired you to take this approach? Were there people in your life or experiences that showed you that was the path for you?
Yeah, I think for me growing up, I was I had an injury when I was 9 years old, and I was put on the B team of my club. And I remember every year like wanting to make the A team. And every year they would take the best players from our team up to the A team. So I feel like every year I would lose, like we would build out a core group and then I'd lose some of our best players.
Mhm.
And I had to pull our group together, and we were a very talented team, but I just had to keep like, okay, this is what we have. We're going to make it work and bring people together. And even while I was still striving for my own goals of making the A team. And I just feel like my dad, day in and day out, was like, if you want this, you got to work hard. You got to give it 110% every single day. And, other parents and coaches were like, you should leave the club. You should go somewhere else. And I finally made the A team, and I was made captain. And I was like, oh my God, like I was just like so grateful to be on the A team. And I was like, oh my God, they're making me captain. Like all these girls are gonna be so upset. And like, I didn't realize that like all the years on the B team, and, I had developed so many leadership qualities of having to like, there was constant adversity and change and pulling people together. And that was really like the start of like leadership for me from a young age. And then going into college, I had an awesome coach that we had leadership meetings like once a week. So we got to learn different leadership styles, and I really resonated with like a servant leadership style.
Mhm.
I really felt that my strengths were empowering others and encouraging them and doing my best to bring out the best in them. And I think all of that, all those experiences, and um, playing in the NWSL and doing some work off the field and in the community, where I was like, more and more, I found that empowering people to be their best selves was what made me the happiest, and ultimately what made me the best teammate, friend, daughter. So I'd say that was kind of a long-winded version of my like journey to like my leadership style today.
I don't think it was long-winded at all. I've said it before, but it shows.
Yeah.
It's so strong and so authentically you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tremendous place to have landed, and I know the journey continues. Um, you talked about the NWSL, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to ask, in the context of, what I think people have probably known for a while, but
Mm-hmm.
has recently become more public knowledge about the institutional failings within our league. Um, Talk about what you think is missing when it comes to leadership. And I'm not talking about any individual person, but maybe it's more as we look to the future. How does, purpose driven leadership have a role to play in making this league what it should be?
That's a great question. I think when the NWSL was founded, it was coming off of two women's professional leagues that have just folded. So people came into this with a bit of a charity mindset of like, you should be grateful. Um, you're lucky you have a league and somewhere to play. And, girls, like women wanted to play. So I think the leadership didn't put them first. And I think that for the longest time, we didn't have representation. We didn't have rights. It's crazy to me that someone that retired 8 years ago can still be owned by a club. Um, and you weren't able to leave situations. And I think I actually had this conversation with Julie the other day. She was put on the board for the CBA, And she was quickly taken off the board for the CBA negotiations because she wanted so much for the players. And I think it just gave me, I wasn't with Angel City at the time, but I was just like, wow, Angel City is doing it different.
No, I love that. So it is having that purpose recognition of things that have gone wrong, and an acknowledgement that at the heart of what we're building really are the players. And so,
Yeah.
I think that's totally on track.
Yeah. And I think that because this is a profession that, everyone, it was their dream ever since they were a little girl. Like they would do anything to play it. And that also put us in a very vulnerable situation of if someone else doesn't have our best interests in mind, they could easily manipulate that. So I just felt like, yeah, we didn't have anyone looking out for us. We didn't have anyone standing up for us. And as much as we did it ourselves, I'm like so proud and have so much respect for all the players in the league that took the courage and had the bravery to stand up and to report these things and to say these things. And then nothing was done, or they were cut, traded, waived, pushed out. So, and that's why I spoke earlier about how much I admire the PA. Like, we didn't have a PA when I had first started. It was a bunch of players being like, wait, I think we need a players association. We need to like find a way to protect each other. And it was player led. And finally having Megan Burke and all her lawyers like step in and stand up for us was just, it's been night and day. And we finally feel safer. It's not over yet. We're still, I think there's a lot of people that saw it happen, let it happen. And yeah, I think we're continuing to get all those people out of places of power.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything that you and the other players have done to get yourselves and the league and all of us to this point, because it's a dream not just for the players, but for all of us who are involved. So it means a lot. I think, as I listen to you talk about your experience in the journey that the players have been on and the real leadership that you all have taken in this, it comes back to sort of where you started, which is being a purpose-driven leader is having a holistic approach. It's taking a holistic approach to what you're building, and not to get on a soapbox, but that's certainly, my hope. I think Angel City's hope for the future of our club, of our league, is that we have kind of stewardship of this thing and an awareness that it's not about any one person, it's not about any one entity. This is a collective thing. And like I said, it's the players, it's every member of staff who's a part of this, it's every fan, not just in this country, but across the globe, who looks to this. And so a holistic approach, one where we take seriously the importance of this. That's my hope. That's my hope for the purpose-driven growth of or evolution of our league.
Yeah, and everyone sees that. I think that one of my proudest moments was, playing every team in the league and being their most sold out game. And it wasn't because we had all these superstars on our team. It was because people wanted to support Angel City and they wanted to support what the club was about and their mission and their purpose. And I think that's where that's why I was so proud and so excited to be a part of that club, of this club, is because everyone around the world sees it and everyone knows it's best and wants what's best for us. And I think that's what's so awesome.
That means a ton. I will also say that to all of us, you are superstars, every single one of you, to a player. I'm not being facetious. You genuinely are. We have said so many times as a staff, like, not just incredible on the field, but my gosh, what an incredible group of human beings make up this team, and that's no accident. And it feels so right. And again, why it's so amazing to have had you and the whole team as a part of this inaugural season. I'll take a step away from the stuff that's going to make me cry. I cry, but just again to look to when you're a leader, when maybe you need
Mhm.
support, it might not be always a serious thing. Who do you look for, or who do you look to when you need to just laugh or be silly?
No, that's awesome. I mean, Allie Riley was a huge person that I leaned on all season because even though she is a great leader, she's also really fun to be around. And she reminded us to enjoy the game and to have fun and to smile and to laugh. And, you know, I had multiple people within the team as well, like Miri Taylor, really funny. I don't know if a lot of people know that. But I would like, if I needed a little laugh or needed a little pick me up, I'd just kind of like be around her for the day. But also just off the field, I think as I had mentioned, I think when you show up as your true self, it's like a holistic thing. So off the field, I try to get into nature, go on walks with my dog, like laugh with Jordan. Like it depends on the day of like what I need, but reminding yourself that it's so much more than a game and
Mm-hmm.
being around people that have that perspective in mind. It just is a reminder to enjoy life and to be present. And yeah, so that really helps me.
I think that's beautiful. It's so wise to be human first,
Yeah.
and not always easy. So, just a little bit of housekeeping. As you all know, these conversations are brought to you by Birdies, our partner, and more specifically, the Game Changer shoe. This is a limited edition version of the Swift, which is a slip on shoe. And the Swift, this Game Changer, rocks Angel City's official emblem and colors. The hope is that this shoe will inspire, literally and figuratively support you and empower you to be a game changer yourself. You can shop at birdies.com, angelcity.com, and in person at the Birdies store on Abbot Kinney in Los Angeles. You mentioned the NWSLPA. Is there any last thought about them, about that you want to share?
I just want them to know how grateful we are for them and that they allowed us to take our power back and they empowered us in so many ways. And I just have the utmost respect and admiration for the PA. And I think in this time, I have nothing personally to promote. I just want them to have the floor, have the acknowledgement, and just as us as fans and players to continue to support them because they truly represent us in such a incredible way, and I'm just forever grateful for them.
Thank you for that, Dani. I think that's
the
perfect place to end.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in, for checking it out. This has been a conversation brought to you by Birdies. Thank you, Dani, so much.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and I will see you soon. Woohoo!